Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, savages and sweethearts, I am Aiden Holland, and it's finally ready. My 600 subscribers special. This video will go over a very important philosophical topic in life. The concept of free will. And boy, I have tried several times to get this good, but I kept fucking up several times. But it's finally ready. I've decided that I will not be saying my speech that I've written out loud. Instead, I will be using the voice of Daniel, which you may know from a lot of memes. But the words are my own. And most of the information in this video you might have already received, but the point at the very end, there's a good chance, I believe, that you might not have already known it. So yeah, you probably have a reason for sticking around. And now, without further ado, we begin.
Free will. What is it? It is the idea of being able to take actions, feel things, have preferences, think things, and have knowledge completely free of influence. There is no such thing. But this doesn't make you the cosmic puppet of a higher power. Your choices, your feelings, your desires, your thoughts, and your knowledge are your own. But the details of those things are the result of your conditions and surroundings. Think of all of those things I just listed as cookies. Now think of your brain as a mixing bowl or oven. And now think of everything that is of your conditions and environment as the ingredients. Get it now. Free will and freedom of choice are not the same. Everything you have ever had and have ever been. Everything you have and are right now. And everything you will have and be. Take these three separately based on their places in time. The past, the present, and the future. There were, are, and always will be two types of fractions of each. One type resulting from your choices, the other resulting of influence from your situation and environment. Knowledge, wisdom, desire, distaste, joy, sadness, anger, fear, comfort, discomfort, cringe, pride, envy, fulfillment, satisfaction, disappointment, hope, love, courage, faith, loyalty, respect, a sense of justice, a perception of ugliness, and even a perception of beauty or preciousness. These things cannot come from nothing, nor can they exist or be acquired in a vacuum. One who only knows a vacuum cannot have or receive such things, nor can they create anything. The contents of who and what you are, they are the result of your situation and environment. Whether you were forced into a situation or location or ended up in either because of your choices, the fact remains. We humans are the product of our surroundings and situation and therefore do not possess free will. It's scientifically impossible. Now I will discuss the role that freedom of choice plays in morality. The definition of morality is the principles of right and wrong in behavior. Morality or lack thereof lies not in desires but in the objects of said desires and in whether or not one chooses to act on the desires. Two things are prerequisite for the presence of a moral factor and whether or not one should be held accountable for their deeds. Knowledge of what is truly right and wrong, and control of the situation. And I don't mean control legally, I meant physically. Legality and morality are not the same. Someone could have the opportunity to do something good, but if it's illegal they might say it's against the law, so I don't have a choice. Nonsense. You always have a choice. Just because laws prohibit something doesn't mean you don't have the choice of whether or not to do it. Now this is not to say all laws are immoral and that they should all be broken. I'm not condoning or promoting any crime. I'm also not here to discuss the full depth of morality. I just wanted to explain its relation to freedom of choice. Now here's an example. Suppose someone's spouse had endured something that made them brain dead, and they desired sexual intimacy with them. They are not wrong to want that. However, since their spouse is now brain dead, they cannot consent to it, which means the object of the desire would constitute as the crime I hate above all others, which I shall refer to as rape. If you know, you know. The object of the desire in question would be intimacy with someone brain dead, which is rape, and therefore is wrong, which means they would be doing wrong by fulfilling their desires, and making it happen in real life. The objects of desires do not make desires wrong. By being right or wrong, they determine whether or not it would be right or wrong for individuals to act on the desires. Desires are uncontrollable and no one should be held accountable for them, no matter the object of said desire. But like I said, the objects of desires can be morally wrong, and if they are, then people can and should be held accountable for choosing to act on said desires. It wouldn't be wrong for the individual to fantasize about doing it with their spouse because they wouldn't actually be hurting them. But if they were to attempt this in real life, then they would be in the wrong. Likewise, faith is not a matter of choice but conviction. Despite what Christians say, not believing in God isn't the same as insulting Him or rejecting His generosity. After all, you can't actually accept kind words from an imaginary friend. You can only pretend to do it. That's how atheists see following the rules in the Bible. They see it as following imaginary rules made up by a fake being like Santa or the Easter Bunny. People shouldn't be punished for what they cannot control, which means people of other faiths shouldn't be punished because of not being Christians, and not accepting Jesus when they don't believe He's even real. Now without further ado, it's time to get into the meat and potatoes of this video. It's impossible to acquire free will. However, you may have something like it. You can't directly control how your environment and situation influences you. However, if you have the strength, knowledge, influence, finances, or raw determination, you can take control of your situation or environment, and by extension you can gain some control of what and you will become as a result of their influence. It's one of many ways people can change for the better, if you have the power to make that change, be it any number of the requirements I just listed. Now that you've seen this video, you have no excuse not to at least try to make that change. If you genuinely believe something's wrong with you, know what it is, and possess the ability to take action, then you owe it to yourself to do just that. Not every situation you have is 100% beyond your control, nor is it always beyond your control where you are. I don't believe it to be the one book to rule them all, the book of all books, nor do I believe everything in it to be factual and worth taking seriously. But the Bible does contain valid teachings. It does contain some wisdom that is very real. For example, this verse I have selected, Matthew chapter 6 lines 22 to 23. The eye is the lamp of the body, so if your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light, but if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. What does that mean? If you ask me, I'd say it means to be mindful of what you perceive. Examples of this being what you watch on TV, the music you listen to, and etc. It's not unlike the saying you are what you eat. The point of this is, if you're able to take control of your situation and environment, then you possess the closest thing to free will in the universe.